So this is a 2014 Honda Pilot that needs a new engine. Kind of a long story. This is my dad's car, and one day he was driving it and all of a sudden it just stopped. The Honda dealership, and they said, oh yeah, the engine's seized up, you know, it needs a whole new engine. There's already 200,000 miles on this one. I said, whoa, Dad, it sounds like, who knows, did they even look at it, you know, did they take a close look? My dad instead dropped it off here. I did in fact get the engine to turn over, so it wasn't totally seized. What had actually happened was a bolt had fallen out in the flywheel, which had gotten trapped while the engine was spinning, and basically it didn't seize it, but it did cause catastrophic engine failure. Two of the valves on the top, they don't have compression anymore. Finally figured that out. Had a mechanic friend of mine do a compression test on it, and so long story short, it does in fact need a new engine, but not because it was seized. So don't always trust the dealership. Got to drain the coolant. All right, radiator's out. So I already took the serpentine belt off, so this, I think this is the AC condenser. You know, it just comes right out because you don't have that belt on there. Get the starter out. Alternator's off. There's a lot of electronics and stuff like that. Alright, so this whole front cord apparatus, you can just take it off right here at the main. I don't know what this thing is, but it's got to come off, so there it goes. Oh yeah, right. Wow. These second electrical connectors are kind of complicated to get out. There's a lot of them here. I'm going to try to take this air intake stuff off. I think I lost the clip, but seems like it might not need a clip because it's gets on there really good and tight. All right, the oil's draining. Just want to show you guys the dangers of leaving your oil pan just sitting under there as you drop your socket in the oil. Oh my God, and then you do it again. And then you gotta fish it out. Gotta go find it. So that's our air intake manifold or something. I don't know. I don't know any of the right names for this stuff. I just call it whatever I call it. Okay, all the electric is unplugged, thank God. That's pretty much everything I can see from the top that's connected to the engine. Next step, lift up the car, put it on some stands, and check it out from underneath. Alright, next step is going to be the exhaust here, taking that off, as well as underneath the all the exhaust manifolds going down. I have to take off the support bracket here, and then there's an exhaust port that goes into the back of the engine too. While I'm under here, I'm going to go ahead and put the oil drain plug back in. Yeah, buddy. Come on. Stupid shit. Come on. So I'm thinking these bolts behind it up here might be a little bit easier access. I don't know how people with long hair do it. It's so annoying. God dang it, this stupid fucking nut. Alright, so I needed a 6-point ratchet, not a 12-point, and finally came out, so. Oh yes, finally. Jeez. God dang it, this stupid thing. Alright. Whew, at least we got that off. You know, everybody says you drop these Honda Pilot engines down, but I don't see why I can't just pull it up and out. I think if I can get the exhaust manifolds off and unbolt this axle here, all that's left really is the transmission and the front and back mounts and that side mount. I get those off. I don't see why can't I just lift it straight up, right? Where is that written? I'm gonna go ahead and take this side engine mount out while I'm up here. Woo! Got him! Finally, jeez. My goodness. I'm gonna take this rear manifold off, and I gotta do it kind of blind because there's no easy access. That's not all gonna fit in there. Well, after an hour, I got one bolt out. That's probably the easiest one. But hey, that's headway! We're getting there! Ah! There it is. We got 4 of them. 1 down, 3 to go. Ah! I got the secret now. Number 2. There you go. Can't do this kind of stuff without bleeding everywhere. Ah! Yes. Ah! Got it. Got number 3. Sorry you had to stare at my butt crack the whole time. Not. Oh my god. Of course I drop it. One more left. I think I can get it. Ah! Yes! Got it! Woo! Oh my goodness. Finally. Last one. My goodness, that was difficult. Oh my god. Okay. Now I can get under there and get the rear manifold off. Forgot to take this wire off. I think it's an O2 sensor. I really need that fucking clipped in everywhere on there. So things are coming together. I made a miscalculation here I got the manifold out, the exhaust manifold, and it won't fit through here. So I can't actually get it out, but that's okay. As long as I can reposition it here, I should be able to access the anchoring bolts that are mounting the engine to the mount. Take off whatever this is, and that'll give me access to the lower bolts on the transmission. I think then all that's left is the top bolts on the transmission, and then it'll just be that front and back mount. This is the heat shield. Got it out. This is the gasket for the exhaust manifold. Where the heck did that thing go? I swear it flew that way. Oh, that stupid ratchet or bit apparently just disappeared, so that's nice. Good news. Found that bit. It had flown like 5 feet that way. I just got up and went over there. Alright, well there's 7 nuts on there, but they're off now. Then I'm going to start disattaching the transmission. Looks like there's 4 bolts down here, and I think maybe there's 4 up top too. Okay, there's the 4 on the bottom, 2 more on the top, and then the front and rear mounts. Probably need to get this strapped on the tractor too. I gotta take the hood off to be able to use the forks to lift up the engine. So that's nice, you can just set that there and you don't have to disconnect the washer filters. So this is the hard bolt from the mount to get off. The others should be easier. They're underneath. They're easy to access. I think I'm going to loosen everything, get it ready, and then attach the lift to the engine. Let me show you. I'm going to attach one end to the chain load leveler here, and the other one I'm going to wrap around the engine with a ratchet strap. Four bolts to take off on the bottom here, and then there's this mount up here which has 3 bolts on the underside, these 3, and hopefully that'll do it for the underside bolts, and then just the 2 on top. My blanket trick worked great. Anytime I'm in the middle of a project outside and I got tools and crap that, you know, in the night the dew comes down and water gets everywhere and then they get rusty, well, just throw a blanket over everything and it'll protect it from the dew, the elements, all that. I made a slight miscalculation. Surprise. I forgot that my tractor, as it was off, the hydraulics tend to release pressure and it falls. Luckily, I angled it so it was fine. Gonna take out the last few bolts and hopefully lift this engine out of here. So there's some stuff dripping. Thank goodness that's just coolant. I was worried that I broke a seal on the transmission, but we should be good. Moment of truth. Let's see if she separates now. Alright, don't use these cheap ratchet straps for this. They're not good. too. So there's something leaking out of there. I don't know if that's transmission fluid or something out of the transfer case. But yeah, I think I jarred it a little too hard. All right, it's physically impossible to get that bolt out without completely disassembling the axle. I'm just going to cut it off. I don't think it's that important of a bolt. There's like 4 other support bolts there, so yeah, I'm cutting it out. Try to show you what's going on under here. Basically, this is your main axle or your front axle, and there's like all these. There's this bracket here that's mounted to the engine, and there's one stupid bolt right up in there that is basically impossible to get anything around. I can't get a ratchet around it, can't get a wrench to it, so I'm just gonna cut it off. I'm done. And this stuff's still leaking out. I'm hoping it's just something from the axle. Maybe if I replace the axle, it will be okay. But yeah, maybe not. Okay, well, it was easy. Now the engine should come right out. I just want to show you guys this stupid bolt here. Okay, so this is our bolt that was in the engine. I cut it here, but look at how dumb this is. Like, the only way you get it out, you have to take this freaking thing apart. And I beat on this thing with a hammer. I broke off 2 of the little things that you're supposed to beat on, or whatever they are, I don't know. Anyway, very annoying. Whoever designed this bracket at the Honda dealership, like, I have some strong words for them. And there's no way, even if you unscrew it, look, it can't get out. It cannot get past this bracket, so it's just so annoying. I forgot, I have to cut out this front top of the frame assembly here. So I'm just gonna cut through the sides there, and then I'll just bolt it back on with some pieces of metal. See how easy that was? Anyone could do it. It's a piece of cake. I'm gonna save myself some trouble and just put this rear exhaust manifold on before I get it in the vehicle. Okay, I think that's everything moved over. We got the hoses, random electronic stuff, some of the brackets, and yeah, time to go drop the new one back in. There's another bracket I gotta switch over. I didn't realize that. unbelievably annoying. So the engine that I bought, I don't think it's actually out of a Honda Pilot. The mounting bracket on the passenger side is like a full 2 inches shorter than the actual one, which means what I if I'd known that wasn't the case or that it wouldn't fit, I could have changed it while I had him on the floor in there. I didn't know that, so I assumed it was good. Get it in here. Now I have to take the stupid timing belt assembly off in order to get that mounting bracket off, and it's just it's a big hassle. There's not much room to work with, so I might leave a bad review to the. I bought it off of eBay, and yeah, I might leave a bad review for the seller. So done, fucking idiots, goddamn shit. All right, back out for day 3. I'm a little worried about the sort of junction between the transmission and the engine. It's not closing very easily, and I'm kind of worried I'm about to shear off one of the upper bolts on it. Maybe rotate the transmission, make sure it's lining up evenly. Once again, the blanket trick worked great. Presto changeo. And look at that. Everything's nice and dry. We've got all the housing bolts for the engine to transmission assembly on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I need to tighten down this last one up here. Got both the bolts for this axle bracket on here. There's one here, and then there's one kind of up top here. The 2 housing bolts for the top of the transmission are on. Both the side mount over there and the front mount is good. Right now I'm going to try to get this mount up here. It's got 3 bolts there. That's the plan. Oh, and I want to get this flywheel secured to the engine. I always do the job with like the hard tools, like, you know, basic ratchets, and then or wrenches, and then afterwards I think, oh, you know, I could have used some of those rotating wrenches. That would have made this job so much easier. And then after the job, I go and buy the tool, and then it just sits and I never use it. I think that's pretty much it under here, other than the muffler. But I want to make sure this thing actually runs before I bother with setting the muffler up on it. So there was a little black plug thing here that I managed to break off when I was trying to pry this this one mount on. So I'm taking the piece off the other engine and I'm going to just replace it real quick. More evidence this is not actually a Honda Pilot engine. The gas electric connectors here, they go in the opposite way. They're 180 flipped, and you can't actually get them in because there's well, plastic there blocking it. So I've got to cut out the back plastic part on these. Why in the fuck would you guys do this? So I replaced the fuel injections with the ones from the old engine, and of course, when you know it, all the gaskets and stuff got stuck inside half of them. So I'm trying to kind of take some of the parts from the other one, and this is janky as heck, but it doesn't even fit on these. So I just did a little bit of super glue and glued the tip of the old one on, and just threw this gasket on there. And I didn't even bother with that middle portion. Though it's weird, the ones from the Honda, my Honda, are these orangish looking type, so I don't know. Anyway, at this point I just want to see if it runs. It's probably destined for the scrapyard. I've messed up too much stuff on this repair. More evidence that this is not out of a Pilot. The the alternator doesn't fit in there right. I have to shave it down some. There we go. Now it fits. This is ridiculous. This is clearly not out of a Honda Pilot. Like, this does not go. It can't get up there. Alright, so got the air intake back in, hooked up most of that stuff right. I've got that little box that I broke. I'm going to try to start it without replacing it. I don't think it's that important. Got the radiator back in, everything's hooked up there. A couple of the mistakes I made. This wire right here, I think connects to a switch or a receptacle right underneath this airflow stuff. I forgot to do it, so it's not getting connected. I don't know what that's for, but I just want to start this and see if it runs at this point. Gonna fill the engine with oil. I think it said it takes 4.5 quarts, but who knows, because this isn't an actual Honda Pilot engine. I'll just put about 4.5 and see what happens. Gonna fill the radiator, and then we'll try to fire it up. There's a freaking hole in the radiator here. I have no idea how that happened. The radiator's just been sitting against that truck. I mean, what the heck? Something run into it? Maybe my dog ran into it. This is about a quart, right? Okay, we got a new battery in, we got oil and coolant. I'm gonna try to fire it up, see what happens. Of course the battery's dead. I heard it fire up for a second. Okay, so an update on the Pilot. I was just about ready to give up on this thing and just sell it for parts, but I realized that I had forgotten this one connector. I thought it connected to the power steering pump, which is this right here, and it connects kind of right in here on the engine. But the switch actually goes into, I think it's the maybe the crankshaft sensor or the camshaft position sensor. But anyway, I got it plugged in. I went to start it, and the engine actually started up. So that's great news. Unfortunately, I didn't have any lines connected, so pretty much any liquid in this engine sprayed everywhere. Power steering fluid, coolant, and oil too, because I didn't have the oil filter on. I got to replace the radiator and then pretty much put everything else back together. New radiator. Get to drain the coolant yet again. Let's see, a couple other things I'm changing out is oil filter. On the old one, the head broke off, the thing that you actually grab and pull. Probably that's common on these Pilots. The other thing it needs is a new oil filter, which is right here. Okay, next thing I'm going to bolt back on the power steering pump. 3 bolts, all number 10. I can't get this in there at a good angle. I think I'm going to use a tractor and like some chains and just try to pull it and just bend it back into place. Forgot when I should have done this before I put the radiator on, but these are the lines for the I think it's the compressor, but I have to attach all these. It's been a lot easier to do it without the radiator in the way. I'm an idiot. I need the this other piece that goes in front here. I'm like standing here for 10 minutes trying to figure out where this plugs into. Alright, so I pretty much got the radiator back on and mounted, the compressor and the compressor cooler thing mounted and everything. This bar needs to attach to the part of the frame that I cut out. As far as this part, this frame here, I'm just going to bolt it back to the frame using 2 bolts. But this side right here got really messed up when I put the engine in. I'll show you guys. So yeah, this is not square anymore. It's supposed to be roughly a square, but it is no longer. So I'm going to try to bend this back out. Alright, I think this is going to work. And then I'll do probably 3 metal steel bars to act as kind of a bracket. It's not a structural component of the car. I'm going to go ahead and put the tensioner pulley on for the serpentine belt. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the serpentine belt back on. I think it's a 12 that's the tensioner up there. Okay, the serpentine belt's back on. Today's the day. Gonna finish this project. Got some metal bars here. Gonna reattach our stabilizing bar here, and then just finish up the other odds and ends. So my plan here is just use these little sheet metal screws to, I don't know, put one on each side of this bracket, hold in maybe 3 brackets per side. Come on, you stupid bitch. Okay, got it on. I don't remember where I put the screws for the hood. Hopefully this is them. I found 4. That's how many go on there. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if the hood closes. Looks promising. Just to give you guys a closer look at that repair job. So I just bolted on these pieces of metal, used them as brackets. It's nice and solid. It's not going anywhere. I put one in the back too. On the top one I used 2 bolts here and just one on this side. The rest I just did one. And yeah, I think it's gonna be just fine. Okay, just gotta refill the coolant and we'll try to start it up. I gotta use some zip ties. This overflow coolant reservoir is it kind of doesn't fit anymore. Okay, this is our moment of truth. We're gonna try to fire it up, see what happens, see if stuff is still spraying out of the engine. This time I'll record it so at least y'all can see it. Well, that could just be the from the coolant or whatnot before burning off the engine. Well, the engine is smoking. Not sure why. I think I want to possibly run the codes and see what comes up there. Yeah, but hey, it's running and everything sounds pretty good, honestly. Okay, now comes a real moment of truth. How badly did I mess up that transmission? Come here, Artie! Hey! Good. Artie! Come! If you don't mind, drop it right there. Thank you. Other than the cylinders misfiring, everything else sounds and feels okay. So I'm just gonna do a test. I'm gonna drive it down my road a ways. We're still not overheating. That definitely sounded weird. I don't have my seatbelt on. Could be bigger concerns with this vehicle than the seatbelt. Pretty much every light here is on, so I think that's the Honda trying to tell me that there's something bad happening. So this is the cheapest welder that you can get from Harbor Freight. I'm gonna do a test run on these two pieces of metal. I'm gonna be welding the flywheel to the torque converter in my Honda Pilot because it doesn't align with the old screws. And so I'm just gonna do a little weld on each spot where the screws should go. Okay, that's not too bad. So that welded okay. Not bad for my first time welding, right? All right, it's time to weld. Okay, well that actually looks really good. There's my weld. Okay, maybe not great, but it could be worse. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Just gotta do that about 8 more times. Just make sure that I did get all the spots. Yep, all right, that's welded. Cool, all right, I'm happy with that. I'm the one driving this, so I'm assuming the risk if this doesn't hold up well. Even if it doesn't, all that's gonna happen is the car is gonna slowly roll and I'll still be able to brake and stop and turn and everything, so. Next up, oil change. Don't know if you can see it, but yeah, oil is right where it needs to be. Okay, we got our new mounting screw in, got the oil done. I think that is just about everything. Moment of truth, I'm gonna turn it on, fire it up, and make sure nothing's leaking. That sounds really good. It's like so quiet now. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, it seems like everything's going good. Sounds great. No error codes, no nothing on the dash. It's good news. Let's look underneath here. There's our new oil filter. Got the drain plug back in. Here's our flywheel spinning. Man, it looks like it's spinning good. Awesome, Honda Pilot, good to go. That is great news. Because I gotta go pick up some inventory in this, so yeah, just in the nick of time. I'll have to put it to the test. It's gonna be about 100 miles.